Hello, let's talk about parabolas. Today we're going to look at the general form of the equation for parabola and turn it into the standard form so that we can identify the vertex, the focus, axis of symmetry, directrix, and then we can use all that to graph our parabola. Now, as you've read looking through your notes, our equation of parabola is either going to look like quantity of x minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k, or y minus k squared equals 4p times quantity of x minus h. Depending upon which it's going to be, it's going to tell us whether or not our parabola opens up or down, left or right. Now, right off the bat, we can see that our x term is being squared, so we should end up with a parabola that is opening up or down. How we're going to tell is by looking at the directed distance, or p, from the vertex to the... How we're going to tell is taking a look at what the value of our p is. So let's put it into standard form. In order to do that, let's get all of our x's onto one side and the y's on the other. So 2x squared plus 20x equals negative 8y minus 34. Next, we're going to factor out a 2. So x squared plus 10x, I'm going to leave a little space here, equals negative 8y minus 34. Now, we need to complete our square here. How we're going to do that is we're going to take half of our linear coefficient and square it, or 5 squared, which is 25. So in order to complete the square here, we need to add 25. But whatever we do on one side, we have to do on the other side. Now be careful. You might think to add 25 here, but what we're really doing is adding 2 times 25. So let's put plus 2 times 25 here. Completing the square, this becomes 2 times the quantity of x plus 5 squared equals negative 8y minus 34 plus 15 turns out to be plus 16. Okay, we divide out that 2 because we want our coefficient of our square term to be 1. So we get x plus 5 quantity squared equals negative 4y plus 8. And to finish this off, we need to factor out our coefficient of y. So our standard form should become quantity of x plus 5 squared equals negative 4 times the quantity of y minus 2. And here is our first part of our equation. Now, our vertex are the coordinates h, k. Now remember, it's x minus h, so what are we subtracting? We're subtracting negative 5. And on the inside, what are we subtracting here for y? We're subtracting 2. So our vertex is negative 5, 2. The next thing I want to do is figure out what p is. Well, 4p equals negative 4, or p equals negative 1. The reason why we want to know this is it allows us to know which way our parabola is opening. We already know it's opening up or down, but because p is negative, we're going to have a parabola that opens down. I always like to draw a little sketch, because it allows us to find the remaining characteristics a lot easier. Here's our vertex, correct? Negative 5, 2. I'm not going to put it in. But we know our focus has to be on the inside of parabola. And how far down is it? It's p down. So we're going down p. And since p is negative 1, we're going to go down, which means you change your y by 1. So our focus should be at negative 5, 1. We can also use this to find our directrix. The directrix is also a p distance away from the vertex, so we go up p, and we're going to have a horizontal line. And since it's a horizontal line, our directrix will be y equals 3, because we had to go up a distance of 1. We also have our axis of symmetry. I'm going to abbreviate A, O, S, And our axis of symmetry has to go through the vertex. And that's going to be a vertical line, or x equals -5. In that case, we have our four characteristics: our vertex, our focus, our directrix, and our axis of symmetry. I'm going to put a nice little box around that to denote that important information. And finally, we want a graph. So let's start off with our vertex. -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 2. So -5, 2. Our focus is -5, 1. Okay? Our directrix is going to be at y equals 3. And our axis of symmetry is going to go right here at x equals 5. So we're going to have a parabola that's going to go to up, it's going to open down. How far wide is this going to be? That's a great question. Here's one little trick. Okay, the book doesn't quite do this all that much, but this might be helpful. Whenever we have a parabola, if this is our focus, which is a distance of p away from the vertex, to the left and to the right, or if the focus was to the right, up or down, the distance from the focus to a point on the graph is always 2p. So 2p to the left and 2p to the right. We'll have another point on the parabola, and this will help us determine how wide this is going to be. So remember, here's our focus, and since p is -1, 2p would be going 1, 2. So this point should be on the parabola, and 1, 2. That point should be on a parabola. So we should have a parabola that opens down, and these other points tell us how wide our parabola is going to be. And hopefully you can be a little bit smoother than what I did here. It's a little bit tricky doing this. Okay? So hopefully this helps us out. If you have any questions, please make sure to ask.